In this video, we'll have a look at reference managers. We'll talk about what they can do for us and which ones are available out there. So what does a reference manager do for you? Well, it saves you a lot of time in keeping track of your references. So it also saves you typing in the reference information, and it ensures that when you're citing in documents, you are formatting those citations correctly and consistently. And also it helps you keep track of sources inside a document as you're writing to make sure you don't leave out anything in your reference list that you are actually citing in your document. Now, what you're seeing behind me is a screenshot of Zotero, which is my favorite reference manager, and it kind of gives you an overview of what it does. So you can see that here in the middle is the list of the publications that I want to cite somewhere. And on the left-hand side, I can organize them in libraries. And here on the right-hand side is the information about the individual publication that I can edit and make sure that all the correct information about it is included. Now, I can also avoid typing all that information if I install the Zotero extension, browser extension, and then when I'm doing a library search, or if I'm on a journal page, I simply click a button in the top right-hand corner, and then it will give me some options for importing the information into my database without having to retype everything, and of course saves me making those errors. Now, there are many options about that, and we'll look at it in a separate video. But that's not where it ends, because now that I have a database of all my references, I can then easily select the ones that I want and choose the correct formatting for my paper, and then simply export them into Word like that, simply by copy and pasting. But there are many more things that a reference manager can do for me. First, it will store copies of the PDFs that I'm using so that I have all of my readings in one place. And it allows me to keep notes, and with some extensions I can even extract information from the PDFs, for example highlights. And I can also synchronize my references between devices, so I don't have to be tied to one computer. And I can collaborate with others using an online service if the reference manager provides one, and most of the ones that we were talking about do. So I already talked about Zotero, but there are other options. So Zotero is free and open source, but there is another free software that is very popular called Mendeley. And Mendeley is owned by a publisher, Elsevier, and it has many features that make it very popular. Another very well-known and popular reference manager is EndNote. And EndNote is one of the first managers out there, very well-known. I used to use it myself, but perhaps we'll have a look at some reasons maybe not to use it. And the Oxford University also provides RefWorks for people, but that's mostly a legacy thing that I would not particularly recommend. There are many others, some of them purely online, for example, Bipsonomy, Paperpile, Colwiz, and many others. But these are some of the big ones that I would recommend looking at if you want to be serious about managing references. So EndNote is the biggest one out there. That is the one that many people will have heard of, even if they don't particularly have a good overview of the field. And there is nothing wrong with it. It's good software. It's one that I used to use before I had some of these other options, but it is not cheap. There are student discounts, but the full version costs in the hundreds of dollars. The other alternative is Mendeley, and Mendeley is really good. It is also free. It has an online component, and it has native apps. And one of the features that many people will like it for is being able to annotate PDFs directly inside of Mendeley, which, for example, Zotero doesn't do for you. But I personally don't like that feature, or don't need that feature much, because I have my other preferred PDF annotation applications that do the job better for me. There are many more guides and many more options out there, and if you go to the Bodleian Library and go to the LibGuides section, you can find out more there. So I recommend you do that. And the next video, we're going to have a look at how to get a quick start with Zotero and get on a journey to managing your references better.